Wenn alleine ein Geheimnis hat, ist das scheiße. Wenn du mit teilt, ist es okay. Aber sobald ein Dritter dazukommt, ist es gefährlich. Aber Frauen ist natürlich auch richtig.
Inwardly furious that Weiss left the task to him, Nier sighed and gave the only answer that made sense.
It's a secret, right?
The sound of the insects stopped as suddenly as it began. The forest undergrowth parted before Nier like a rippling wave, opening a new path. These forest arthropods are making a road for us, said Weiss with glee. Pleased at passing the test, Nier moved on with new intensity. The path offered his body relief from the undergrowth, but it gave even greater cheer to his mind. As long as they were on a path, their journey had a purpose.
I guess the forest has accepted us, huh?
Said Nier after a bit. Weiss spun around to face his companion. Do not mistake the will of the forest for some happy pet you can suddenly befriend. We have no idea where this path leads. As Weiss finished speaking, the pair turned a corner and found themselves facing a clear forest spring. Smiling, Nier picked up a small rock and sent it skipping across the surface of the water. Good heavens, said Weiss. His surprise was understandable. Each time the rock struck the surface of the water, a musical note rang out. When the rock finally stopped moving and sank to the bottom of the spring, the ripples it left behind came together to form words. I enter through the window, but I break no glass. When night falls, I vanish. What am I? Absurdly easy, barked Weiss. Now answer it. Nier grit his teeth and tried not to reach out and strangle his companion. He's right. After all, this one is pretty easy. I enter through the window, but I break no glass. When the night falls, I vanish. What am I?
Ja, dann Sunlight, ja.
Sunlight!
A plume of water suddenly burst from the spring. Sunlight filtered through the trees and reflected off the plume, creating a shimmering rainbow that spanned the entire horizon. In all my years, said Weiss softly, I have never seen such a sight. Perhaps I have misunderstood the intentions of this place.
Hey, look!
Cried Nier, waking Weiss from his daze.
There's a house or something over there.
Glancing in the direction of his friend's extended hand, Weiss saw a small cottage nestled among the trees.
That's weird, isn't it, Weiss? I mean, who would build a house all the way out here?
Nier walked over and pounded on the door. After a minute of solid banging, the door cracked open and a small man peered out. His body was cloaked from neck to toe in a large black cape, while his face was obscured by mist. Began Nier, but before he could get any further, the cloaked man held a hand up and began speaking.
I have 4 legs in the morning and 2 at noon,
Kennt jeder.
but I end the night with 3.
So einfach.
What am I?
So easy.
Nier tried to ask the cloaked man who he was and what he was doing there, but he simply repeated the question.
Das kommt jedes Mal bei so einem Rätselding vor dieses Rätsel.
If we wish to engage this man in conversation, said Weiss, it seems we must answer his riddle.
Yeah, I suppose.
Said Nier.
At least it's an easy one.
I have 4 legs in the morning and 2 at noon, but I end the night with 3. What am I?
Mensch. Weil als Baby hat das auf 4, geht's auf 4 durch die Welt, als Erwachsener auf 2 und als alter Mann bekommt
Das hat man in Devil May Cry neulich.
Ja, das kommt wirklich überall vor.
Ja, okay.
A man.
The mist dissolved from the cloaked figure as he spoke a single word.
Correct.
With that, the man flung his garment
Oh Gott,
aside,
nein!
revealing his true identity.
Deine Träume, ne?
Deine Belohnung! You're the mayor!
Cried Nier. The small man slowly shook his head.
I am not the mayor, you know. Now listen to my words. Long ago I saw a version of you that was not yourself.
You saw what? I'm sorry, I don't understand a thing you just said.
It will make sense in time. At present I simply congratulate you on cracking the seal of the death dream. Now you must go to the man at the forest entrance.
With that, the man turned on his heel and slammed the door behind him. As Nier watched, mist seeped up from the ground and enveloped the cottage, erasing it from existence. When Nier and Weiss returned to the forest entrance, they found the mayor leaning against the tree. As soon as he caught sight of the duo, he sprang to his feet and scrambled over to them.
Good gravy!
He cried.
You made it! You actually made it back!
His left hand grasped Nier's and pumped it so fiercely it threatened to dislodge from the socket, while his right
my hand.
seized Weiss by the cover and swung him through the air. God, by the heavens, stop shaking me, fool! We have not even told you if we were successful or not. The mayor smiled broadly and shook his head.
I'm just happy you're alive. I didn't think I'd ever see you again.
Nier withdrew himself from the mayor's eager handshake with a slight smile.
We broke the Death Dream seal,
he said.
At least, I think we did.
The mayor's face beamed as Nier filled him in on the details. When the tale was done, the three of them laid down on the forest ground and fell asleep.
What the fuck is this?
Wait a second. That's crazy. Why would you just lay down and go to sleep? This is one hell of a story.
Cease your endless prattle and go to sleep, fool. Fighting against the rules of this place is futility itself.
Ich wollte mir gerade exakt das Gleiche sagen. Sehr gut.
Nier and the mayor obediently reclined atop the grassy earth. Have you forgotten, continued Weiss, it is words don't control the death dream, words that allow us to move from place to place. No matter how unnatural they seem, the words are absolute. Therefore, if the words tell us to sleep, then sleep we shall. And once we do, the story will continue. With that, the trio found their eyes growing heavy, their breath slowing.
This is the first time,
began the mayor.
The first time I have felt tired since I was imprisoned here.
His words were cut off by a loud, long yawn, and he remembered nothing more. They might have slept for an hour or a year.
Daran merkt man deine Erfahrung als
ja, absolut.
Spielen.
When they awoke, things had a slightly more real quality to them. The mist felt thicker, the leaves greener. It was clear that they had awakened from their dream. Nier shook the mayor's shoulder gently. Good
news!
He said.
We made it!
Oh, wow!
Sorry, I was
said
sleepy.
the mayor in an odd voice.
We did! I'm back!
He blinked once, twice, as though not quite believing the sight before him.
You two have no idea how much this means. The death dream, ich sag noch einmal, death dream has started to spread through our village, and I wanted to, well, I thought I could figure out how to stop it, but I guess that wasn't the case. I must have caught the disease and become trapped in my own dream.
The mayor started to stand, then collapsed back to the earth. He stared at his legs as if trying to remember how they worked, then glanced at Nier and shrugged. Without a word, the fighter reached down and pulled the mayor to his feet.
Real life may take some getting used to.
A wry smile crossed the mayor's lips.
Entschuldigung, was warst du?
Egal. You shall relearn in short order, I am sure, said Weiss. For now you should return to your home and rest.
No,
said the mayor, swaying on unsteady feet.
No, I can't. Some of the villagers are still trapped in the death dream. I have to save them.
The mayor slowly made his way to the divine tree in the center of the village, then bowed his head and prayed silently.
This is a holy tree.
He explained when the prayer was finished.
It's the guardian of our village history and memories.
Superstition will only make our mission harder, muttered Weiss. We should not put our faith in the gods. The mayor shook his head.
Not the gods, the words. Legend says... Das sitzt draußen, ne? Okay.
Ja.
Legend says that our tree is home to a powerful magic known as a sealed verse.
Nier and Weiss could not contain their surprise. It seemed a goal had been found in the most unexpected of places. I say, muttered Weiss, this is certainly a stroke of luck. As the three of them said their goodbyes, Nier mentioned the strange man who had given them the third riddle and the mysterious words he had left them with.
I once saw a version of you that was not yourself,
muttered the mayor.
What in the world?
Lost in thought, he stared into space for a long moment.
You know,
he said softly.
This is going to sound weird, but I had a feeling I'd seen you before too.
Nier tried to keep a straight face and failed, but the mayor didn't seem to notice.
Déjà vu, right? Déjà vu? Sag mal in
Englisch déjà vu.
Déjà vu, right? Anyway, I figure it's just some kind of illusion created by the death dream. It probably doesn't mean anything.
Nier gave the mayor a nod and a smile, but inwardly his thoughts were racing. There's something wrong about the mayor and his words. I wish I understood what the hell was going on here. That riddle would prove to be the most difficult one of all.
Oh, thank you so much. Now I can finally return to a normal life.
This is one of the most bizarre diseases I have ever encountered.
I know. That's why I have to help the other villagers, no matter what.
Taint a sealed verse. Dark execution.
What the fuck?
For a sealed verse, that didn't take much effort.
Yes, on a touch too easy if you ask me. It's almost as if someone was guiding us to the village.
You think too much, Weiß.
Alter, aber einfach mal ein gesamter Dungeon.
Text-Adventure.
Text-Adventure. Naja, Adventure war es ja auch nicht richtig. Du musst ja keine richtige Entscheidung treffen, aber...
Man muss Rätsel lösen.
Ja.
Die sehr leicht sind.
Was wäre passiert, wenn man die nicht gelöst hätte?
Hätte man den ganzen Text nochmal machen müssen.
Boah. Okay. Das ist ziemlich krass.
Ziemlich cool.
Das,
Vor allem, wie es so nach und nach
übergeht. Ja, das war sehr verwirrt am Anfang. Also auch optisch, ja, ne? Weil es wird immer größer und der Text wird fetter. Und dann
Sollen wir noch mit den anderen reden?
Und was mit den anderen reden? Achso, mit den Leuten hier?
Ja.
Gibt es da auch noch solche? Echt?
Ach, weil man die alle retten kann, oder
Es
was?
gibt noch 2 Stück.
Das wäre jetzt ein bisschen too much.
Also ich weiß bei einem noch, dass der richtig krass war. So von der Story her und so. Also ich würde sagen, wir machen es, weil das ist halt Teil des Spiels eigentlich.
Ja klar, mir geht es halt nur um
Ob wir es jetzt machen
Pacing,
oder ob wir es
genau.
Ich weiß nicht, wie lange man es noch machen kann.
Wir wissen, wie viele Sealed Verses noch kommen.
Bitte?
Was ist denn jetzt gerade deine Aufgabe? Popular einfach nur.
Ja. Ja, komm, lass machen.
Wenn wir schon mal hier sind.
Ja, dann mach halt.
This must be another person affected by the death dream.
It would appear that way, yes.
Fragen dich sicher. Ne? Also du hast das schon, keine Ahnung.
Yeah. Gods, please don't tell me you have to go back in there. I'm not good at this mind game crap. I'd rather hit something in the face and be done with it.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yeah.
I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison is tucked under a stairway in the long unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that seems without end. Light has no place here. Wind is forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes, and eternity slips by in the single tick of the clock. Someone knocks on my prison.
Hey, anyone there?
I hear an unfamiliar voice say, "My savior." I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help, I laugh, I sob. Surely this is a product of my adult mind. Surely it cannot be true. Das darf jemand anders machen?
Help me!
I cry.
For the love of all gods, help me!
And possibly I hear the sound of a lock being out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly cracks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired man and a floating book before the light pours inside. My eyes, accustomed to blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away.
Wir müssen vielleicht gleich dauernd nochmal wechseln, wer wen spricht. Weil du hast gerade Nier gesprochen.
Ja, stimmt.
Ja.
Weil das
das war, ja, okay,
Du musst jetzt da den Prisoner sprechen,
Ja, genau,
weil das waren ja
sprich du den
Nier
Prisoner.
und Grimme Weiß, die
Ja,
da angeklopft haben.
Ach so,
Also du
ja,
sprichst das jetzt.
okay.
Du musst
Who
da-
are you?
I ask, shaking hands, covering my face.
How have you come to this place?
Das war ein bisschen komisch, weil ich gleichzeitig erzähle es, aber egal. I am Grimoire Weiss. This is Nier. Long have we been searching for you.
Muss uns noch jemand einkaufen, der das nicht.
Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as Nier extends his massive hand and pulls me from the cell.
Ich hatte gerade gedacht, irgendwie weiß im Kopf gehabt. Jetzt dachte ich so, ist das gerade ein Witz, dass es...
Though my eyes are slow to adjust to freedom, my ears are as keen as ever and they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain.
Oh, heavy rain. I never thought to hear the rain again.
I whisper. Would that this were not such a terrible storm, said Grimmerwise. Look at your feet. I force my eyes open and see water pooling around my feet and lapping at my shins.
There's so much of it.
Yes, and more comes each moment we delay. If we do not make good our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know that you are weak, but you are our only hope to survive this place. Time, that long-forgotten friend, made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like the endless entrails of a giant. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet. All are covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of grey matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fever, I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away on the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look from it to the beds and back again until the horror dawns full upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know, and sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter, I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness and I find myself opening the door and leaving that most terrible of rooms. I squint down the dim corridors.
Ja. Also wir müssten uns ungefähr merken, wo wir hier lang gehen.
Okay.
Das aufmalen?
Falls wir falsch...
Mats merkt sich das.
Willst du einfach mal einen Zettel und einen Stift holen?
Warte, hinten.
Ja, Zettel und Stift. Oder auf dem Handy.
Ja, wir können auch einen Walkthrough gucken, aber das finde ich jetzt ganz cool, dass wir das ein bisschen machen.
Warte.
Wir sind nach Norden gegangen.
Ja, das war auch die einzige Möglichkeit.
So, also einmal...
Deswegen Süden wäre jetzt nicht so sinnvoll.
Wir sind nach Norden und da war der Raum mit den Leichen.
Ja.
Soll ich mir aufschreiben, was da war? Ja, ich schau mal Norden. Leichen.
Dann würde ich jetzt nach Osten gehen, weil Süden sind wir gerade hergekommen, oder?
Ja, Osten.
Wir haben nicht so viel Zeit.
Ja.
And proceed east. I squint down the dim corridors.
Und dann nach Norden weiter, weil Westen wir wieder zurücklaufen.
Ja. Nord. Ja.
I squint down the dim corridors.
Also wir sind jetzt Norden, Osten, Norden gelaufen.
Ja.
Also würde ja Osten oder Norden nochmal am sinnvollsten sein.
Ja, einfach weiter in eine Richtung.
Aber weiter nach Norden?
Ja.
Mach mal, proceed north. At the end of the path, the waters rise to my waist, exhausting me both physically and spiritually. I pray that this is the way out. Eventually I can stand the sight of waters no longer and so turn my eyes upward. Imagine my surprise when I see a series of paintings hanging on the faded plaster wall. Each depicts a person in the prime of life, clad in clothing of the highest quality. The styles, however, are strange to me, leading me to believe that these people had lived long, long ago. One subject wears an outfit that particularly catches my eye. It is constructed of a thin, breezy cloth and decorated with a motif of flowers and birds, while encircling the figure's waist is a leather belt of the most perfect construction. It is a stunning costume, even by modern standards. As I gaze at the portrait, I am struck by a desire to touch it with my own hands. Yet as I extend a single finger to the painting, I am gripped by a most unpleasant feeling. Staring closely at the image, I see it bend and warp into shape of another finger. Something behind the picture is pointing at me. Is it another prisoner, a fellow inmate trapped for eternity in this place? I cannot let it pass, and so I seize the portrait with both hands and throw it into the water. The wall is hollow behind the painting, and inside I can just make out a body. Whether or not this is a prisoner, there would be no rescue. This poor soul is long dead. Scraps of clothing lie on the floor around the bones. Only a small amount of the fabric has survived, but it features the same delicate designs that were depicted in the portrait. I have been admiring a row of corpses blocked from view by portraits of each victim at their pinnacle. Enough shielding my eyes, I paddle forward through the water. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed.
Jetzt gehen wir wieder zurück.
Squint down the dim corridors.
Wir sind einmal zurückgegangen.
Wir sind einmal wieder zurückgegangen. Jetzt können wir...
Also Norden werden wir wieder zurück in diesem Ding.
Genau, nach Süden geht es halt noch ein zurück. Also entweder Osten oder Westen.
Würde ich Osten einfach mal gehen, weil ich vorstelle, nach Osten gegangen.
Ja. Mal ausprobieren. At the end of the path, I find myself in a great hall with only the sounds of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table upon which rests china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach the chair at the table's head, but as the truth of the matter dawns on me, I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the movement I saw.
Kannst du nochmal gucken, wie machen die Insekten?
Chahoo! Chahoo! This one splendid feast was now nothing more than a requiem for the damned.
Band. Name.
I take a moment to steady my shaking hands, then slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze lands on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs prove to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat up the back and down the arms. This explains the color of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. For if not, it is a simple task to envision the agonized screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasps frantically at the possibility that these souls had committed some terrible crime for which this was punishment. Though in truth, I suspect they had committed no crime at all. There would be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. I squint down the dim corridors.
West geht wieder zurück, Norden würde nach Norden gehen.
Norden.
Against all hope, we make it to the front door.
Break it down!
Someone cries, and so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Nier and Grimoire Weiss, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door. On the third try it gives away, and we find ourselves sprawled in front of the castle.
Es war gut, dass wir das so geplant haben, wann wir zurückgehen und so, weil ich erinnere mich noch, ich habe da mehrere Versuche gebraucht.
Okay.
The storm is in retreat, the clouds above are still dark and foreboding, but to the west I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through.
How can I thank you?
I cry as tears join the rain on my cheeks.
I would surely have died in there.
Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters and sheepishly try to cover my exposed skin. Your dress? Asks Weiss. Then you are a woman, madam.
Das ist geil, das ist auch nicht wusste.
Yes, I am.
I proffer the two a smile.
I suppose it comes as something of a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words.
I can see that the one known as Nier is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well. With a nod and a shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, providing the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades.
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
I hear you.
Wow. Wow.